the time he died, coincidentally, is the time my sight started going. It's just a coincidence. So it went slowly.
Just flashback on the situation you are in when you lost your sight. How did you fight it back? Because I can see you are strong right now.
When it went completely, I felt like my future had been shattered.
Now maybe I'm curious, how do you identify money? Like, this is 1,000 shillings, this is 200, this is 50 shillings, this is 20 shillings. How do you identify?
So I keep telling people sometimes I'm blind, but the right word would be visually impaired, especially now if you put it in Kiswahili. It's better you say asiyeona ama aliye na ulemavu wa kuona rather than kipofu. My family encouraged me, hey, you need to get married. So I told them, I can't do that. And it was like a joke. And I made a phone call right in the presence of my elder sister and my sister and her husband, and we were in a vehicle in Kitale, and I called this lady, and she says, if you want to marry me, bring me Nduma.
As a joke?
Yes. We bought a whole sack and put in the boot, and when we reached Nairobi, she picked it.
You separated twice.
Yes.
What was the mistake? A very warm welcome to yet another episode of my story, today being on a Wednesday, the 28th of June 2023. I'm very excited to bring another episode today, and today I have a special guest who is here with us. He is ready to share with us. Remember, on this show we aim to inspire you by hearing to our guest story, the inspiring part of their story. What is unique about their story? What do you get to learn from their story? So today I have a special guest. He is ready to share with us his particular story. So we'll go straight to the guest. Welcome.
Thank you.
Jonah, sasa.
Poa poa.
Nigote. Uko namna gani?
Niko salama.
Sana kwenye show.
Yes, asante Habil. Ama unaitwa?
Anaitwa Habil Machengo.
Yes.
Unaweza anza na kujiintroduce, tuambie wewe ni nani, watu wakujue kidogo, and what you do as well.
Mimi naitwa Jonah Simba. Nimecelebrate to 45 years.
Wow, 45.
Jana, yeah. Jana, Monday.
It's not late to say.
No. Sunday nimecelebrate 45 years.
On Sunday.
Tuesday. Yes.
And it's not late to say happy birthday to you, Jonah.
Thank you.
Uli celebrate aje birthday yako?
Tulichinja kuku. Nina uluya fulani. Mimi ni mluya mkale nusu.
Okay.
So tulichinja kuku home, tukakula kakeki kidogo, tu soda. Watoi, my neighbors, unajua tu hiyo maneno. But when I went to church, niliimbiwa happy birthday to you.
The church knew.
They sang, No, our church has a culture. Every Sunday kama ni birthday yako unaimbiwa. So this Sunday tulikuwa watu wawili. Me and a young girl. So tukaimbiwa happy birthday.
You felt nice?
Yes, of course.
Did you make a wish?
Wish?
Yeah.
No.
Why not?
I was
make a wish. On your own secret zone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Next time we hit 46.
Yes.
Make sure you make a wish.
Yes.
Anyway, introduce yourself. Tumeanza mambo ya birthday.
Mimi ni Jonah Simba.
Yeah.
I run a show, Science TV.
Wow.
Show Treasures of Life.
Yeah.
Motivation and mental health, soft skills.
Yeah.
I also run a political show that explains to you that I'm in different fields.
Okay.
I'm generally in the disability sector. I had different groups za disabilities.
Yeah.
Nikifanya tu mambo za social inclusion, working towards filling gaps in different areas. I'm married with 2 boys.
2 boys.
Yes.
2 strong boys.
Yes. So, yes, all right. That's me.
Jonah, welcome to the show and happy birthday once again.
Thank you.
May God bless you as you are 45, grown and strong again.
Yes.
So in this show, as I told you earlier, we aim to hear your story.
Yes.
Tell us, where did you grow up from?
Okay. Wow. I grew up in many towns. I'm a boarding school boy. Yeah, I started boarding school in class 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can say I grew up in boarding school. So, but my mother, who is already passed on,
Yeah.
she is the one who raised me up and raised us up
Yeah.
in a family of 4. So I had a younger brother and 2 elder sisters. Yeah, who right now all of them are married and living in different places. Yes. Yeah, I've grown up in different towns. I've grown up in Nairobi, Eldoret, Nakuru, Busia. There's a pattern there. We were actually, whenever we would be on holiday, we would be with our mother. Our mother was a banker.
Yeah.
So I would be where she's working. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you have mentioned about you being a Luya and a Kalenjin.
Yes.
Hiyo crossbreed ilikuja aje?
Yeah.
Nani Mluya, nani
No,
Kalenjin?
no, my father is a Bukusu.
Okay.
The Babukusu from Bungoma, but we live in Kitale right now. And my mother is Sabaot.
Sabaot.
Yeah, actually in Kitale town right now, many are half-casted Bukusu and Sabaot.
Sabaot married there?
Yes. Yes, so my father, originally from Kimilili, the Vamukoya clan. My mother, originally from Bungoma, the Bongomek. Yeah, they are called the Bongomek. Yeah, so
much of a culture there.
Yes, yes. Yeah, okay. That reminds me, I'm supposed to attend a Bongomek meeting. Hey, okay.
When is that?
30th of this month.
Yeah.
This is the month of June. I should be there. That just reminds me. That's a reminder. I've been out there in Bungoma. Yes.
All right. And maybe I'm just curious. When you were growing up, while still you're already grown and still growing. When you were growing up when young, what did you want to be? What did you want to be? While ulikuwa unasema nikiwa mdogo, nikishakuwa mkubwa, this is what I want to be.
Interestingly, I was not so sure. I remember shifting, but I'm not someone who has really ever been focused on being something at the end, like a specific career. It has been shifting. I remember there was a time I was saying I would like to be an engineer. That was in class 6. Then at some point, I remember just wishing that, I just wanted to be an international person. Yeah, like moving from nation to nation. I started listening to BBC a lot and international channels a lot. And I felt like I just wanted to be on the international platform. Yeah, but really the career, I wasn't specific. But I just wanted...
settled on what you wanted.
Yes, I just felt like I needed to be on a career that would take me internationally. Yes.
All right. Let's now go back to you growing up in... You grew up in Bungoma, right?
I grew up in different towns. Yeah, I could easily say Bungoma and Eldoret. Yes.
So while there, maybe you were living with your parents, your mother was also working, your father was working, right?
No, I was raised by a single mother. Okay. Yes, my mother and my father parted many times, and then my father died. Yeah, much earlier in 1990. And my mother did not remarry. But even before he passed on, they had already separated much earlier, in around 80 thereabout, 10 years earlier. So I've been raised by a mother.
By a mother?
Yes, yes.
Okay, and now maybe your father died. Did you get the story of what happened?
Well, I'm told he was unwell. That's all I know. Okay. Yeah, but much later I related with the family. Last year I attended the funeral of my grandfather, the father to my father. he was close to me. I think after my father died, he decided to, we became friends, sort of. Yeah,
he became like a father figure to you.
Yes, he became like a father figure. But also, my father was the firstborn to him. So, and I was the firstborn boy. Africans and boys. I was the firstborn boy to my father. So, automatically, I feel like the first in that family. Yeah, so I think that's why the grandfather had to really look for me. Occasionally, I would travel to Kimilili just to have time with him, especially during the time he was unwell. Towards the end of his life, I visited severally. Yeah.
Right.
And now, he's JS and I'm JS.
John Simba is also John Simba.
He was John Simiu.
JS.
Yes, he was John Simiu and I'm Jonas Simba. So he was called JS. Actually, people used to call him JS. And they would realize that I'm also JS. So in those areas, they also call me JS. Yes.
All right. And now I'm just curious, maybe there's someone watching and you can relate to your story. You grew up, majorly you were brought up by your mother.
Yes.
Did you get affected because you did not have a father around?
Did it affect you? I wouldn't know exactly. Right now, I have a wife and I have boys. So, and I think I'm doing a good job as a father. But I wouldn't really know. But as I told you, I was a boarding boy. Many times I was in school. And at school, it's teachers you're dealing with. So, of course, towards when I think again, I would rather have spent more time with my mother. But that would be challenging because she was a professional. My mother rose to the very highest ranks in banking. So she was very busy. I don't think she would have enough time, even if I was to go to a day school. We would just be meeting in the evenings.
It was better off.
So I think she made a right decision to put us in boarding, especially since our father had already passed on. Yeah. But thinking about it, it's always good when you hear the voice of a man around.
A commanding voice somewhere.
Yeah, my mother was a commander. Well, my mother was a disciplinarian. Even though, of course, I would have learned maybe more tips from my father. I would have known more to deal with issues like a man. But I don't think I'm less a man. Because when I look at myself and I see the things I'm doing. But I think this is courtesy of church. Because in church we have men's fellowships. I have a lot of male friends. You're my friend also. But during childhood, I didn't have a lot of the man figure. So maybe there are a few things up to now. Maybe like right now, I think I would be fearing snakes. If there's a snake around, maybe a man would have made me to be more courageous. I would not cross roads more confidently. I mean, I'm trying hard. So there's an aspect probably of a man that I may have not noticed that was not instilled in me. Yeah.
And you have mentioned about you fearing snakes, not crossing roads carefully because you have some fear. Tell us, I can see you with a cane.
A white cane.
Yeah, a white cane. Tell us more about the story behind the white cane. Maybe what happened to you?
Actually, from around class 7, interestingly, my father died just when I was joining class 7. And that's when my sight started going. So I don't know whether it's trauma or shock. I don't know whether it has anything to do.
You got a shock when your father died?
No, we never lived with my father. But the time he died, coincidentally, is the time my sight started going. It's just a coincidence. So it went slowly, 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 slowly. I was partially blind until the time I was in in university. Yeah, in college at the East Africa School of Theology. I studied Bachelor of Arts in Bible and Theology. So when I was halfway, that's when it went completely. But before that, it was just partial. Yeah, I got diagnosed. They checked and they told me it was retinitis pigmentosa, which comes out of coloration of the retina. Much later, of course, retinitis pigmentosa has no treatment. I was told it's still under research. It involves photoreceptor cells. They can't be regenerated. So it couldn't be treated. But much later, when I was exploring how it can be treated, because some solution had come up in India, another diagnosis was done and they discovered it's actually a dystrophy. It's like a distortion of retinitis. It's not exactly pigmentosa. The one that I have is not hereditary. Some dystrophies can be passed from one generation to another. It can be passed from a father to a mother, but in my case it can't. So they told me it's a diversion of retinitis, that they are yet to discover which one. So I've not done a proper diagnosis, and I don't think I'll do, because retinitis of all kinds thus far don't have a treatment. Yeah, so that's what happened. When it went completely, I felt like my future had been shattered. For about 3 weeks, I was a bit like, now what next? You know, I knew it would go, but it now hit me that now it is gone completely. So what helped me, it was that I was in Bible school, and a friend of mine had organized now, for the sake of my healing, to travel with him to Rwanda to go and counsel genocide victims. And that worked like magic. I went to Rwanda, flew there, and flew back. But
when was that genocide?
No, much later.
Much later.
Yeah, that was in 2003. We just went to counsel and to preach in different churches. And in those churches, I would speak to people who had experienced genocide. And many people would tell me, "You've just come to us when you've lost your sight. God bless you." And it healed me. I thought that maybe my losing of sight meant a beginning of some new journey of service in life. And I was healed. So since that time, when I traveled back to Kenya, I've never gone back to why did I lose my sight. Never thought about it. Never regretted. Yeah.
Now,
much later, I came and started an organization that could help me reach out to people with disabilities. I did it from January 2007, and that is what I've done all these years, dealing with issues of disabilities in different ways. I've been in the education sector, assisting the blind. I've been in the ICT sector.
you know, on TV.
Yes, exactly. I've been in the media. I've been in just different areas. There was a time I attempted sports, the goal ball, and that table tennis for the blind, the showdown. Yeah. So there are different places I've been. I've been in Christian ministry, spiritual work. Yeah, trying hard to reach out to people with disabilities.
Wow.
Yes.
Now, before even you mention about what you are doing currently, just flashback on the situation you are in when you lost your sight. How did it affect you? You know, there's someone watching, and also maybe he or she right now is affected because of the condition.
Right.
Maybe how did it affect your life, and how did you fight it back? Because I can see you are strong right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Actually, I didn't get so shaken in the sense that I knew that my sight would go one day. So when it happened, it hit me, but just for a while, and I went and ministered out there and counseled people, and I was okay. But then occasionally, when I would watch football, it would hit me that I wouldn't enjoy my sport much. You know, I love watching football. There used to be a man called Ronaldo, the original Ronaldo of Brazil.
Yeah, the Brazilian guy.
Yes, I would really love to see his power and charisma and strength as he's playing in was he number 9 or 10?
9, yeah.
Number 9 as he's scoring, and they would shift the camera from him to his girlfriend. You remember that? Whenever he would score, they would show Paula. Yeah, his girlfriend is Paula. So he would score a goal, and then the cameras would go straight to the girlfriend. She had white long hair.
Was it to create some humor?
No, I think he had made it public that this is his girlfriend. So he went with the girlfriend to the World Cup, and I think he was scoring to please the girlfriend. So, and that way they won the World Cup. That was in France. No. France beat them. That was in 2002, thereabout. 1998, yes.
Yeah,
so
France
yes, so I was watching that. I watched the previous one, Germany, previously West Germany versus Brazil again. Yes, so I used to enjoy a lot of that. I enjoyed Italian football, the way you would see the way they would kick the ball and run, and someone would chase until they would hold their t-shirts. That's the joy of football. And then there is just the way the German machine operates in the field, the way they just operate, and the way the Brazilians enjoy the samba type of football, the dribbling.
They're all celebrating.
Yes, and the French football. Okay, I don't enjoy the French football because it's very fast. Yeah. So those are some of the things I missed, and then the colors of their uniforms, and the colors of the pitch, and their faces when they were celebrating. Those are some of the things that hit me when I finally lost my sight, that I'll be losing. And, reading books I couldn't read again. Now I have to use sighted assistance. I would have to ask someone to read a book for me. So I began to feel like, hey, what's happening? But now I just decided to say, fine, it has happened. Self-acceptance. I decided to agree, imetendeka, accept it, and that's how it helped me. Up to today, I feel like if you gave me my sight, I may be now confused on how to operate. Yeah, because now I'm so used to operating as a blind person.
You're comfortable.
I'm okay. Yes, and and I don't think I'm missing so much. Yeah, so I feel I'm free.
That's an empowerment working on you.
Exactly.
Right. And now maybe I'm curious, how do you identify money? Like, these are 1,000 shillings, this is 200, this is 50 shillings, this is 20 shillings. How do you identify?
In my case, I'm still learning. Yeah, I've not yet gotten to money very well. Even though the 20 bob and the 40 bob coins confuse me because they look similar. The notes, as you go up, they become bigger. So it's still confusing me. There's the 100 and the 200. One is longer up, one is longer that way.
So you have had to identify with them with the features.
Yes, I think the 200 is longer up and the 100 is longer that way. So I'm still learning how to identify mine. I've not yet quite known how to identify the 100 and 200. The 50 bob is small. It's easy for me. Yeah, they said they are going to put lines on those notes. The lines are too small. Maybe if there's any person who can influence Treasury listening, they need to make long lines. Maybe they can put the same idea. Yeah, because it came from people with disabilities anyway, the blind. So they should make it higher, the lines, even if they just put 50 bob one line, 100 bob, 2 lines, 200, 3 lines, whatever format.
For
But
sake of inclusion, right?
yes, but it should be something that you can touch. They told us that if you were to do that, it would be very costly. Yeah, so I don't know what they are going to do so that people like me now can identify money much more easily. But for coins, of course, 5 bob is easy.
The smallest.
10.
We have bigger 5 bob these days.
Yeah, yes. 10 bob and 1 bob is confusing. They are almost the same. 20 bob, a bit challenging. 20 bob is okay, but when they brought in a 40 bob that looks like it, now it became confusing. Yeah, so I'm still learning, but I know my colleagues who are blind, many of them who are born blind are thorough, they can tell, but I'm still learning.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now, of course, you're working and you're getting some income.
Yes.
And of course, you need to account for the money you have.
Yes.
Have you faced a challenge with the con? People who want to con you because of your condition. Maybe when you have boarded a vehicle and you need change.
Yes.
Have you faced such a situation?
Yes, I faced it once, but not many times. Yeah, there was a route in Nairobi. One time I gave the money. So I wanted to give the driver.
Yeah.
And then the driver just took the money and asked, "Hey, ukona, was it 50 bob?" Then the man gave him the 50 bob and he gave me, but actually I'd given him 500. Yeah, so I came to realize in front that he made me believe that was a 500, while it was actually, he made me believe it was a 100, while it was 500, because the route they needed only 50 shillings. Yeah, so that was one case.
How did you feel?
Of course I felt bad, and now I'm speaking like I'm Zungu. It was so bad. Terrible.
So bad.
It was bad. Why should people be bad?
Yeah.
But what is funny with the Kenyan culture, people, I think it's their culture. It's very difficult for people to con you financially when you're blind. When they do it, it's very rare. When they do it, I think it's just on rare occasions. I experienced it at an M-Pesa shop one time, but I called and reported the situation. Yeah, so sometimes we go through these things. And then this white cane, this one doesn't have a strap, but there is a strap we normally have here, because initially they would snatch it from us. You would walk in the street and someone just comes, poof, and they imagine it goes for 2,000 thereabout. So they take it and sell it to somebody for 500. And those days it could be used for making aerial. This is a very good aerial for TV. So they take it and they go and use it for making manual aerials.
That's your car?
Yes, this is actually my mobility.
Someone uses it as an aerial?
Yes, they use it for aerial. Or for some of them, I'm told they just go and look for another blind person and they sell it for throwaway. But that young man, people almost beat him up. I had to stop them. Yes, he looked to me like he was under drugs. Yeah, he wasn't very normal. Yeah, he looked like he was high on something. Yeah, so so occasionally it happens.
Those are some of the challenges that you face.
Sometimes you are walking on the street and you're trying to walk with your cane alone. Then probably one time someone was bending, tying his shoelaces. I knocked him conveniently. So he walked with his hands and almost knocked the pillars on the road. And he came back ready to kick me. So people had to stop him and told him I'm blind. So sometimes when you're walking, I prefer to just walk with somebody. Yeah, it's more safe. Yeah, unless I'm totally
accurate also?
Yes, yeah, for safety. And then this white cane gives me a lot of identity, and in that identity there is safety. Yeah, you know, when I'm crossing the road with it, someone seeing it knows they need to stop. As opposed to just walking with a normal stick, they will think this is someone probably with a leg problem. Yeah, so that is what I can say.
Okay, now, before we go for a short break, I want you to tell us, what was I to ask you? I've forgotten. What are some of the best terms?
It's actually cold.
But I'm feeling cold. I don't have a sweater.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm not married.
Ouch.
Anyway, sorry. That's by the way.
Yes.
Before we go for that break, what is the best term to refer to someone? Do I just call you a blind person? Because I don't want to injure you, because people have language that can be, injuring.
No, actually, I know there is the normal term of the better professional way is visually impaired person. You could say visually impaired person. That's a VIP. Yeah, the same way you would say a deaf is a hearing impaired person. Yeah, so it's better when you say visually impaired person. But there are cases where I just use the word blind deliberately for the case of identity. It's very important sometimes for people to know you're blind.
Yeah.
When you say visually impaired, sometimes in some cases you are confused to be having some sight. So I keep telling people sometimes I'm blind, but the right word would be visually impaired, especially now if you put it in Kiswahili.
Yeah.
It's better you say asiyeona ama aliye na ulemavu wa kuona rather than kipofu. Yeah, so it's like now calling someone who is lame kiwete. You know, it's like a bit derogatory. Yeah, but also when you have accepted yourself, even if someone were to call you blind, you wouldn't get very offended. You would know, yes, I'm blind.
Yeah.
And that's my identity. But also the attitude and the manner in which they say it can matter. And sometimes I tell people out there that when you meet wrong people, you are the right one. I am the one now who is to... Correct. Yeah, but if I get into a shouting match and defense, it brings another scene altogether. So I appreciate it when I'm just called visually impaired. Yes.
Right. And have you had to battle, a person calling you kipofu, ule mwenye haoni? Have you had to battle such terms with people?
Not at all. Sometimes I would understand. There would be one or two people who would say that, maybe because of a certain, the context matters. But I've never gotten myself being called in a context of abuse. Yeah. But in politics, yes, it happens. In politics, sometimes there would be a lot of that. People would bring out that matter. Yeah, kipofu ataongozaje watu, si ataingiza watu kwa shimo. All those kind of... Yes. So that one, in campaigns and in politics, I experienced it, yes, a lot.
All right. I want us to take a quick break. And when we come back, I'm going to reveal to you that our guest here one time vied for a certain seat during the past election, that is on 2022. So stick with us, don't go away, you'll learn more. Welcome back from that break. We are going on. I'm still with our guest over here, Jonah Simba. Now, we've already heard halfway of his story, and now I'm ready to go on. Our guest here once vied for a senatorial position, or senator seat in Nairobi. He's going to share with us. But first, we have to take a step on another story. Welcome back, Jonah.
Thank you.
Karibu sana.
Wow.
Yes. I'm so excited to be here with you to share with you your story. You are so empowered already. I can see even without asking.
Yes.
Now, I want you to tell us, tu chanue tu kidogo, or give us a secret too, if you don't mind. Earlier on, you mentioned about you having a family.
Yes.
You have two strong boys. I can see a ring.
Yes.
Share with us. Ulipatana aje na mama?
Actually, one Sunday, I'm always at church. I started going to church early.
Yeah.
So one Sunday when I was still a bachelor in somewhere in Rongai, I was boarding Nissan Matatu to town, Nairobi city center, and going to church. So when I reached town, I needed someone to escort me from down at railways up to Ambassador, where I could get double M buses to Buruburu, because I was going to a church in Buruburu that time. So when I was still negotiating with the conductor who can help me, a lady came from behind the matatu and asked the conductor, he needs help. The man said yes, he needs to be taken up to Ambassador. So this lady we get hold of each other, and we start walking. So we walk, and she tells me she's going to church also, and I tell her I'm also going to church. So we reach Ambassador, and there are no double M matatus. In fact, we are told, go all the way to Mudhurwa in case you want a vehicle going to Buruburu. So I'm like, I feel it's already late, and this lady has to go to church, and she was going to Stanley Hotel. So what happens? She tells me, okay, fine, I'm going to church, I'm late. And you can see I can't take you to Mudhurwa. Why can't we go to my church? It's just here at Stanley Hotel. So she welcomes me. So I follow her, we go to the church. We fellowship. After the service, she introduces me to her pastor. Then later,
not knowing she was introducing her husband to be.
I'm telling you. So I get into connection with the pastor. You know, for me, I'm someone who studied theology, and I'm a preacher of sorts. So we connect with the pastor. In fact, he helps me do one of my projects to people with disabilities. No, that time. Yeah, so I started relating with him and doing some projects. He wanted to know what I do, so he managed to instigate a donation from some organization for my project. And later I moved out of the church to another church. I learned later again that she moved out of that church. This was in 2008. So much later, my mother dies. But
you became friends with the lady?
Yes, we became friends in 2008. And then in a year, we could just speak like once. After I left the church, I could call her once. Another year, she called her once. 1 year, I remembered her birthday, took some gifts to her. And finally, when my mother died, my family encouraged me, hey, you need to get married. So I told them, I can do that. And it was like a joke. And I made a phone call right in the presence of my elder sister and my sister and her husband, and we were in a vehicle in Kitale, and I called this lady, and she says, if you want to marry me, bring me Nduma.
As a joke?
Yes. We bought a whole sack and put in the boot, and when we reached Nairobi, she picked it. And later when I asked her, she told me, you want me to say no? And I took it to be a yes. And we started the process of planning. So later when I was actually...
That's so sweet.
Yes. When we were going now to tell her parents, she's taking me towards our home in Kitale, only to discover she was a neighbor at home. So in fact, our parents knew each other. Yes.
So it was a sweet coincidence.
Yes, in fact, they told us this is how people end up marrying relatives. We didn't know we are from home. Yeah, because her parents, her people and my people, they meet in the market. They know each other. Yeah, so it's just a coincidence that I married someone right from my home.
And she was not related to you?
And she was not related to me.
That's a blessing.
Yes.
So you bought someone Nduma.
Yeah.
She asked you to bring Nduma if you want to marry her.
Yes.
And you did a whole sack of Nduma. And that was a vibe.
Yes.
And then she said yes. Go on with the story.
No, she told later when I reached my place in Rongai, I call her and I tell her, oh, by the way, I've just met you and I've given you the sack of Ndumas, and I had asked you a question. Will you marry me? She said, do you want me to say no?
Of course not.
Yeah, I said, of course not. She said, okay, fine. You continue with your plans for marriage.
Just that. Hey, kwani how sweet were you, bwana?
Now, you know, when we were in the matatu.
Because me right now, I'm not. Yeah.
Right now you're saying?
I'm saying,
Yes.
I'm sure right now if someone just approaches a lady and she tells her, or he tells her that I want to marry you, of course the lady will be shocked. But for your case, it was just Nduma, and then a bit of surprises on birthday, and then kidogo you ask a question and it's a yes.
Now this lady says, when we met in 2008, remember 2008, and this I'm proposing in 2013. You can see those are 6 years
of friendship.
Yes. So all this time, she said she knew it would come. Yeah, she said she was praying about it. She thought about it. So by the time I was proposing, this is someone who had thought about it over years. You get it? That's how it became very easy.
Did you used to give her signs that you need her?
Not at all. That's why you should be careful. Someone may be praying about you. Are you married? Oh, okay. Someone may be praying about you and you are not aware. I didn't know that someone was praying, and yeah. Of course, when we got married, we didn't know each other. It costed us. After 6 months, we separated. And we separated for 2 years. It costed us because now we hadn't related well. We didn't know each other. Then after we separated for 2 years, we reconciled.
You got married for 6 months, eh?
We got married.
Then you separated for 2 years.
Yeah.
What was happening?
Okay, people, you know, we people need to court. I don't think we courted enough. We were still knowing each other, understanding each other. So when we got married, you know, church people, we are not encouraged to visit. You may end up in sin. So you marry, yes. So you marry people and you don't know them very well. But now, later I discovered the 2 years of separation was good, because now it gave us time to really think, to grow and know, do we really need each other? Have I really married correctly? So we came back, and this time we came full blast. After some time again, we separated for a year. Again. This time now we were learning how to communicate, and we had issues in communication. Now we reconciled, now with sweet communication. And you know, life is a journey. If you're in a marriage that I believe is designed by God, it will survive. It will survive, exactly. Yeah.
You just talked about courtship. You missed the courtship stage, right?
Yes.
Between you and your partner.
Yes.
I was just remembering that there are 4 stages of a relationship.
Right.
There's dating, there's courtship, there's engagement, then there's marriage, that is wedding. So you went from dating to marriage. You skipped the engagement and the courtship. As per my research, you know, I read somewhere.
Yes. So give me the stages again.
Dating, courtship. You know, when you are dating, you now getting to know each other. You know, you are spoiling her kidogo hapa na pale. Where are you from? That's dating.
We never did that.
Yeah. Then courtship. Courtship is now when you are seeing if you are compatible. You know.
Yeah.
Then now engagement is when you are now sure you are compatible and you are sure this is the one. You can even book her by a ring.
Right.
Then now marriage is now to make it official.
Yeah.
So for you skipped, right?
Yeah, we went straight to marriage. Yeah.
So you...
But lucky enough, let me just shock you. Never marry because of love. Yeah, never marry because of love. Marriage is a duty. You know, there were days many years ago when our parents would just do the matchmaking. Mpendanie mbele. Yes. And I think that's what even Indians do to date. They match make. So when you get married and you are focused on you, you will end up in a good marriage. What do I mean? From you don't need a woman to complete you.
As a man?
No. You need to be, if you need a woman, or if a woman needs you, then you're marrying a parasite. You should be able to support yourself without her. She should be able to support herself without her. No one should.
Are you talking of financial, or
I'm also talking
at which angle?
Yes. Never should a woman tell you, marry me to make me happy. Who are you? Are you God to make somebody happy? You should be able to be happy. Generate your own joy.
And share it now.
Yes. If I marry you so that I make you happy, I'm in trouble. Because I have a lot of flaws. I have a lot of things in me that will make you unhappy. So you should learn how to be happy and to be joyous with what you have. So with, people who are already strong on the inside are the best people you can marry. People who are already mature on the inside. Yeah. You are not marrying somebody so that they make you happy. You're a dependent.
You are not each other to share the happiness.
Yes, you're getting into the marriage already strong. If a woman tells you, I need you, run away from that woman.
Okay. How am I supposed to run from someone who loves me and I love her back? Anyway, let's go to your story, yeah? That's a story for another day.
Yes.
You separated twice.
Yes.
What was the mistake? Maybe mention some of the mistakes you guys had for sake of someone out there who also is facing the same trouble as you. What are some of the mistakes that you are having, or what mistakes did you make?
Okay. Basically, it was communication. Yeah. The psychologies of one another. Yeah.
So that was the main thing?
That was the main issue.
But now are you together?
Perfectly so.
Happy. She's happy.
She is.
Nice. Nice.
You can't be perfect, but we've tried. Yes.
God is blessing.
Yes.
Okay. As we finish, give us a hint of what happened during the election, the 2022 electioneering period. What happened? You were vying.
Yeah.
Tell us a story.
Yeah. I wanted to be a senator, especially of this city, Nairobi. And I was going for it. Yes, and I'm assuring you I could have done a good job.
Wow.
Yeah. But then this coalition Manenos came in. Azimio, Kenya Kwanza.
Azimio coalition?
Yes. I was vying with through Labour Party of Kenya by one Honorable Julia Ojambo. And Secretary General Ruben Lial at that time. So I was going for it. Then the coalition had somebody that they preferred. Yeah, so I thought, in the spirit of the coalition, why not leave it for one Honorable Edwin Sifuna? So I left it, of course, after one or two consultations. And here we are. He got it. Yes, so that's it.
And are you friends with Sifuna?
Yes, we are.
Completely.
Okay, I can't say really friends. I'll just say acquaintances. Yeah, if I call Sifuna will be happy to speak to me. I would ask him questions. I would give him ideas here and there about what to do in the city here and there, and he would accept it. Yeah, so he would advise me also here and there, and I would accept it. Yes.
All right, Jonah, that's great for you. That's great of you also.
Yes.
For someone to go and vie for a seat, it's mean especially, you are visually impaired. And you know how Kenya is. We are still growing when it comes to inclusion.
Right.
That means you're already empowered and you are a strong man, know.
Yes.
Now give us your final remarks. Someone is watching out there and maybe he or she is living with a person who has a disability. Maybe he or she is a guardian, or maybe even someone with a disability is watching right now.
Yeah.
Give your final remarks as we finish.
Yeah, you see, people with disabilities are a blessing. People with disabilities have a lot of wisdom. Very few of them would not have learned through probably the disability, because disability is like an adversity to some level, and adversity is the mother of all invention. When someone is challenged, you find they have to do a lot of PR. So already they gain experience in public relations. They have to know how to talk to people, because that is their way of maneuvering through life. So I would just advise the people with disabilities, work on your personal branding. Be very good public relation people for your own sake. Don't be walking with your emotions all over, because that will push your opportunities away. As it is, you're already marginalized because of stereotyping, culture. Some people believe that people with disabilities are a curse. So, yet they are not. So you have to find ways of coming out as a blessing, improving, even when places where you feel marginalized, shine and come out and show your potential. Never hide your potential as a person with disabilities. Take time to discover you. Get yourself on a journey and discover you. And for the caretakers of people with disabilities, at the end of the day, is what goes around comes around. Don't mistreat people with disabilities just because you feel you're advantaged in one way or other. They may be needing you today, but who knows? They may come out in a way that you may need them somehow. Yeah. So just do the caregiving properly. Tone down on verbal abuses, because many people with disabilities go through verbal abuse. Yeah. Occasionally you would be supported and you feel like you're being abused here and there. So those are some of the things I can tell. Disability is not disability.
Thank you so much, Jonah. Let me shake your hand.
Yes.
Asante sana for sharing those powerful stories and the message as well.
Yes.
All right. That has been Jonah Simba, our guest of this week. Thank you so much for tuning in up to this juncture. Thank you so much. What have you learned from this particular story? As for me, I've learned that in a relationship, don't skip the stages. The dating, courtship, engagement, and marriage, unless you will make a mistake. So thank you so much. See you again.